Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulties, and we every Thursday night we'll be coming on with Thursday night online conversations. I know we didn't get a chance to do any promoting for tonight, but I decided to do something last minute, do a little pop up conversation about women in ministry, and especially when it comes to dating and relationships. So I have a friend that is joining me tonight. That is she's a single woman in ministry, but I believe she's in a relationship. So, but I'll let her talk about that. But there are a lot of conversations going on right now about relationships. So I wanted to kind of give us a voice, a place to speak about kind of what we deal with as single women in ministry, and then single women in ministry dating. So, thanks for coming on, Brianna. I was hoping maybe
Sure.
we could get a couple more ladies to join us, but it's kind of like I said, last minute. So, um,
That's all right. We can handle it.
yeah, we can handle it. What is So let's just start with this. I'm 37. I'm single, and you are.
I'm in a relationship. I'm in
See,
a relationship. I'll be 33 next month. But I'm in a. It's relatively new.
mm-hmm.
Um, so, but yeah,
See,
it's
how hard
it's.
is that? No. Um, those of you who are tuning in, feel free to like and share this Facebook Live. It's on Periscope and YouTube as well. Um, but we're just gonna kind of just get right into it. Um, I have been, let's see, I've been divorced for 10 years. Single, unmarried for 11 years. Not in a relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, um, I have found that dating in ministry is very difficult. It's very difficult. Um, Especially dating. I don't know if I would say dating. I've had an apprehension of dating men in ministry. So I don't know. Tell me about how that is for you. Is your boo in ministry?
Yes.
See, did
Yes.
you have an apprehension though as well? Like you didn't
I'm
really
I'm
want.
gonna be honest with you. I did not want that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, back in my day before the Lord really saved me. um, I dated the I wanted the drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the nigga on the street, and that's what I had. I'm just being real.
No, be real.
So that was what I was used to, and I'm not talking about like the little drugs like weed or nothing. I'm talking about the
Mm-hmm.
big dogs. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's who I was with, and so that's what I was comfortable with. That's what I knew. Um, and that's what I liked. And I think that a part of that was because I was young, I was still learning myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I was on the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
knew. That's what I liked, and so that's what I was comfortable with. But then, even really getting kind of settled into church and kind of settled into ministry, I still didn't want. A man, in ministry because of what I saw, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because of, other relationships that I saw kind of not be good because of how I saw other men, in ministry treat other women in ministry. I Give me the nigga on the street. I'm okay with I don't need
Yeah.
the preacher or the pastor or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So, honestly, that's not what I wanted. And I actually prayed to God, like, I'm okay. I know I'm in ministry,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with not being with somebody in ministry. I don't really
Yeah.
want that. I prayed to him, like, no, thank you. But I think it's kind of inevitable, um, with me, you,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of the level that we're at this
Mm-hmm.
point. it may not be something that we may have desired, but I think for anything to truly work for, someone like us, we got to be equally yoked. And so,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean settle just because
Right.
he a man in ministry, and then oh, he a man in ministry, so that's gonna work. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, because I'm saying, I wouldn't really see it working with somebody who wasn't in the same vein, in the same, type of things that we are in. I don't think that it will work. We could try to make it work, but
Yeah.
so.
And I think that's the part for me, and probably why I've been single for the last 3 years, or like not in a relationship for the last 3 years, not dated or anything like that. Um, it's finding that person
Yes.
who can cover me, who understands ministry, um, not necessarily wanting to be with someone who was a minister
Mm-hmm.
or was in ministry or a pastor or whatever the case may be. And then the stigma that comes along with women who women in ministry, and then them being with other being with me, you want to be a first lady, or you know what I'm saying, like that stuff is just like,
I
so
think,
because I didn't want to that, so I stayed away from certain people. I stayed away from dating
yeah,
certain people because I
yeah,
just did not want that stigma that women can get sometimes.
yeah.
Um,
I think,
I yeah, go ahead.
um, and I listen. I get it. I think the issue there with the stigma and everything. I think we make, you know, presumptions and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And so, and then there are presumptions made about us, about
Exactly.
women in ministry. And so, they've already got this list of how we are, and this is what we do, and we're trying to be a first lady and all that. And
Yeah.
no, thank you. Uh, so, but go ahead, sis. I just want to put that in. But you're
So
talking
okay,
good. You talking
this
good.
is okay. So listening to some men in ministry talk over the
Mm-hmm.
last couple of weeks, and I'm sure you have as well.
Yes.
Um, a lot of them say they want a woman who is a boss.
Mm-hmm.
You're an entrepreneur, so I'm an entrepreneur. Th- I'm afraid that they don't really want a boss.
Mm-hmm.
They like the idea of a woman who has her own, but they want um but from what I hear, it sounds like they want someone who's going to give up who she is to support who he is.
Yeah.
Is that what it sounds like to you?
Um. I think that the idea for them to want a boss, it's a good idea. It looks good, but like you said, I don't really think a lot of them know really what having being in a relationship with a a real boss is. And
Yeah.
so, you know, when you have um, a strong woman who is taking care of her business, taking care of home, taking care of her kids, just
Hmm.
wearing multiple hats. Um, I honestly, and this is not all of them, but some of them, when they get that, it kind of emasculates them a little bit because,
Hmm.
they say they want a boss, but then when you get one, can you really handle
Can you
what
handle it?
that entails? Because, like I said, we're mothers, we have businesses, we have ministries, we got a whole bunch of stuff we're working with. And so,
You
and
right.
we're very strong women.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, I don't,
What is it? I mean, other than, and it's just me like really trying to put my finger on what it is. Um, other than from what I've seen, a lot of men try to lead with money because they don't know who they are.
mm-hmm,
Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So instead of
I don't, and I won't even necessarily say that they lead with money because they don't know who they are, but I think they lead with money because of the probably because of past relationships, the women that they've come across, across, that's what attracts some women. Oh, you flash me a little money, buy me some
Yeah.
flowers, such like that. And so because that's what they've encountered, that's what they, push and promote out there. So I don't think that it's necessarily they don't know who they are, but
Mm-hmm.
because of the women that they've encountered in the past and they've accepted that, then they think, well, because Shorty over here like me for, flashing money, I could
Mm-hmm.
toss a couple of dollars at her and I can get her. Then I can approach, someone like us the same way. And then we looking at
No.
them like, little girl, I done had all that. I done been with the ballers, and I
Right.
ain't talking about no chump change. Like I done been with some men who have, you know, that don't impress me. When I was young, you could get me like
Right.
that, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a little girl anymore. I know who I
Right.
am, and that stuff don't phase me. I can buy
It
my
don't
own
face you.
flowers. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I can take myself to dinner. I make my own money. I bust
Right.
myself trying to get my own money. So, you know, but
But
I
why
won't.
do they see that as such a bad thing when we say we got our own? It's like, I don't
Um,
want you, but I don't need you, but I want you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it, to me, that should make you feel better as a man that she don't need me for nothing. She's not with me for an ulterior motive, but she
yeah.
wants to be with me. Um,
But how can you handle that? How can you
it is,
handle
I
that
don't know.
when
I think,
when because I don't want this to be a male bashing thing, because when
no,
we
no,
were
no.
watching, to me, it came off as they were bashing the women. And I was like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. Because y'all painting this picture. And so I don't want them to get on here like, we're bashing the men. And so again,
No.
I think that it all has to do with the women that they've encountered before they got to us,
I
or
don't know
whomever.
if it's just that though. I think it could be
I
some
mean, I'm not saying
insecurities.
that it's all that, sis. I'm saying that that's part of the issue. Now,
Yeah.
some men are just stuck in their ways. They
I think
have
it's
this
insecurity.
mentality. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
But see, what the thing is, and this is what I said on my status, and I think that this needs to be discussed. The world and the church put so much emphasis on training up a woman to be a wife and be
mm,
submitted to her husband. And they have
mm,
instilled that in us since we came out of the womb, the
the
world
womb.
and the
Yep.
church. But
Yep.
it's never a conversation, it's rarely a conversation about a man, and how to prepare a man to be a leader, how to prepare him to
Yes.
be a husband, take care of home. And so I think that there's an imbalance there. And so that's why
Hmm.
there's so much conflict when it comes to relationships, because we're getting taught one thing and they're
Listen.
getting taught a totally different thing. And so then when it comes to us trying to, get together or whatever, we like, well, you want me to submit to you, but you're not giving me anything to submit. You don't know, how to
Right.
take care of home. So how am I to
Right.
submit to you? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's what, um, even, I mean, our play as children is baby dolls, basically modeling how to be a mother,
yeah,
and then Barbie dolls how to be a, with
yeah.
Ken,
And
and how
then
to,
the
how to
easy
be a
bake
wife,
oven.
easy bake ovens, little
Yeah.
kitchenette sets,
That,
all of that. And then I don't know, I grew up around my grandparents, so that was something that was instilled in us: how to be a wife, how to be a
yeah.
how to be a mother, how to be submissive, how to serve, all of
Mhm.
that. So I mean, that you're right. That's how we grew up. We grew up, dreaming about what our dream wedding would look
Yeah.
like, and what wedding dresses and Cinderella, and all of all
Well,
Disney.
let me stop you right there though, because that messes us up too, because we were dreaming about our wedding and not the covenant
Mm,
of marriage. And so then
wow.
when that's all we think about, what is my dress gonna be like? I'm gonna wear this
Yep.
dress, you know what I'm saying? And we're ill prepared as women because we were so focused on the dream wedding and
Yep.
not paying attention to the covenant of marriage and what
Right.
marriage really is. And so,
Mm, yep.
you know, I got to
Yep.
give it both ways. I got to
Yep.
talk to my
No,
ladies
that's
and my
right.
men.
That's right. We were, but I think we were maybe too immature to understand that
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
child. So
Absolutely.
then, you just grow into, wanting to be a wife and a
Right.
mother. And
Yep.
that's how, yeah. So um, I'm, I've just kind of, what do you, I was talking to one of my girlfriends last night. Um, everybody thinks, when you're single, everybody wants you to be in a relationship. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So there's always somebody wants you to meet, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. What are your thoughts on? Because this was one of the questions I think they had talked about the other night, was what would your ex say about you? Um, and what if we is a background check necessary? And I'm not talking about police report background check. I'm saying ask somebody who knows somebody who may know somebody, because we're what, maybe, like, there's only like 1 to 2 degrees of separation now because of
Yep.
social media
Yep.
and whatever the case may be. Do you think background checks are necessary?
Um,
Thanks, Xavier.
I haven't. I think they're absolutely necessary because, and I'll say why. I think for us, with everything that we carry, the things that need to be protected, our name, our business, and things like that, you want to make sure that the person that you are dealing with is not going to tarnish what you've built up. Listen, I can mess up my own stuff by myself. Okay, I
Listen.
can tear down my own name by myself. I don't need the man or my companion to be the one to come in and just wreck everything. Especially,
Right.
when we've worked so hard. Again, we're not new to this. We true to this.
Right.
We've been in here for a little while. We have, we've built a few things. And so it's imperative that you're just not, but this is now why you have to seek God and not just
Yeah.
go within your flesh, because he could be fine. He could be talking to you real good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But what is his spirit like? Can he cover
Mm,
you? Can he cover what you've built? Can he come in and help you build and things of that nature? This is why it's so imperative that you have a relationship with God. Because then when you have that relationship with God, then that background check, God gonna tell you. Especially for you and me, because he gonna tell us anyway, because he
oh
speaks to
yeah.
us, with that prophetic
Oh
gift, you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? He gonna tell us. That's when the background check comes in anyway. But I do think it's necessary that you know who you're dealing with,
Yes.
especially again, when you work so hard, when you have built the things that you have built, we have kids, we have to think about all of that. You can't just have somebody coming in,
Hmm.
and I don't care that he wears a collar. I don't care that he sit up in the pulpit and he preaches, because they be some of the worst ones. You got to make sure
Listen.
who you're dealing with is who God is having for you for your life. That's why it's important that you have that relationship, because he'll tell you, oh no, baby,
Yeah.
he not it. He not it. He's not it. But yeah, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think? What do you feel?
I feel as though it's necessary. I think background checks are necessary. You don't have to let somebody know that that you're dating them,
Right.
whatever the case may be. Just casually asking, like, "Hey, do you know such and such? What are your thoughts about
Mm-hmm.
somebody? Whatever." And you're right. Stick to, what does your discernment say? What does the Holy Ghost say? Pray
Yeah.
about it. What is, and
But
not
see,
to
we
be
mess
deep
up
or
then,
spiritual.
sis. We mess up because we not using our discernment. Listen, when he talking
Mhm.
good and he coming in, he smell good, he saying all the right things, he's stroking our ego. Sometimes we allow our flesh to overtake our discernment. And so that's
Mhm.
what you said is very important. We gotta use
Mhm.
that thing because we mess up so many times overlooking God
Yeah.
and at reacting out of our emotions and our flesh.
Mhm.
We got to, and we can talk about that because we got to get our emotions under control, because our emotions will have us in a
Yep.
relationship we ain't had no business in. But go
Honey.
ahead.
No, right. That's no, you're absolutely right. It will. And I think that's me being in ministry or whatever
Mhm.
the case may be. I've tried to have what some would consider balance,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to explain what I mean.
Talk about it.
Um, I tried that way. I tried, you don't have to be spiritual all the time. Okay. You can go out and have fun. You can, and it led me in a path that was not of God. We'll just say
Mm-hmm.
that. And it led me in a path of compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I have to, you know, there are certain boundaries that I have to have. There are certain conversations that I cannot have.
Yeah.
You know,
Awesome.
and so while I'm not always, I ain't always, I ain't speaking in tongues or whatever the case may be, but I'll try to let the Holy Spirit lead me
Yes.
throughout my day, regardless of what's going on. If I'm working, my business, if I'm in the community, whatever the case may be, I try to let the Holy Spirit lead me throughout my day.
Yeah.
um
I think it's
that being
imperative.
said,
I want to go. I didn't mean to interrupt
yeah,
you, but you
no, you're
said
fine.
something really, really good, and I want the people to really hear you. Um, you can't be naked with everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
must. You can't be naked with everybody. What are you talking
Mm,
about? There are certain conversations that you cannot have with everybody. You can't allow people to see you in your vulnerable. You can't allow everybody to see you in your vulnerable moments. What you may
mm,
think is y'all just going out to get, a drink or whatever. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? That person may not be able to handle you in that aspect. So that's why your
mm-hmm.
discernment is so, so key. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, you can't be vulnerable with everybody. You can't be naked with everybody. You have to protect
Yeah.
it. And that doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, we walking around speaking in tongues and Father in the name of Jesus, I need you to, all at the restaurant. No, we're not doing we're not doing that.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's important that you protect yourself, protect your spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And even when you're going into what may seem like, a casual date, you want to make sure that what to share with that person and what not to
Right.
share with that person. Because you could be
Right.
having a conversation and they can take that and take your vulnerable moments and take things that you share with them and run with it, and then it just be a mess after that. So I
Yeah.
wanted them to hear what you said because that is so important.
Yeah. It led me into a place of compromise. So
Yeah,
trying to be,
yeah,
I mean, I I usually, when somebody wants to date me or whatever, I usually give them the ground rules up front. I don't have sex before marriage. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't go to the club. Don't ask me, like, don't 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 even approach me with that if that's your motive.
yeah.
You know, to the left. But um,
None of them.
I think it's important that we, for so many, I'm just going based off what I see, some of some of the conversations that I've heard, that we can be too spiritual.
Mhm.
One guy even asked me, it was like the first time we talked on the phone, was like, what is the Lord saying to you about me? It's like, uh he
Not that he
said,
tried to get a quick word.
he tried to get a word, sis. I was like, I haven't asked them. I mean, we just exchanged numbers. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean,
Right.
I took it as a compliment that
Mhm.
he trusted that in
Mhm.
me, but at the same time, like, no, I ain't that. I ain't there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Mhm.
Every moment of our lives are not there. And so it's
Exactly.
like, y'all want us to be. You want us to be there, but then you don't want us to be there. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's so many layers to this dating game. It's not what I'm. It's not what at all what I remember. You know,
Yeah.
in high school. That's my
Yeah.
point of
Well,
reference.
see, and that's the thing though, because it's still like how we were in high school, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And so I think, like you said, it's so many layers, and it's so many. Our layers are different because we're in ministry, and so
Mm,
now we're digging into deeper stuff. But I
yeah.
think the issue comes in with a lot of us is we're not waiting and allowing for God to do the work. We're stepping in. We're trying to choose our mate. We're trying to,
Mm-hmm.
make them like us and love us and all kind of stuff. And we've not sought
Mm-hmm.
God. We didn't wait on Him. We are so in a hurry to
Mm-hmm.
be in relationships and so in a hurry to be married. And then, when we do get that, because sometimes God will give you it to show you a lesson. Now
Yeah.
we get a divorce next year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think the issue is one of the issues is that we're not waiting on Him and we're not seeking
Mm.
Him. And that
Wow.
may be, oh, well, y'all being spiritual. Well, okay. Well, what do you want
What
us
you
to
want?
be? Do you want me to seek God or not? I mean, but I
Yeah.
also think that it's important that even when you seek God and then you start to date, have balance. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about church all day, and since you
Right.
know me, I'm listen. Listen. I stand on God and God's words and His promises. I will pray the heavens down. You know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
don't I don't want to talk about church. I don't want to talk about when you came home from preaching, and don't bring that home to me, because I feel like sometimes that allows for us to bleed on each other because somebody at church done
Mm.
pissed us off, and now we done came home and said, it's just layers. It's
Yeah, it is.
layers. It's
It
a
is.
whole
It is. That's
bunch of
good.
layers.
That's
But I
good.
think, go
I
ahead,
don't
go
mind
ahead.
talking about I don't mind so much talking about church if it's in a constructive way. If it's,
Yeah,
I don't mind talking
absolutely.
about ministry if it's in a constructive way. I don't
But do you want to talk about
but
it
but
all
I
the
want to
time,
talk
though?
about more than that. What else who are you?
Exactly,
And that's
exactly.
I think that's um
Talk
what I
about that,
miss.
sis. Talk about
That's the part that kind of gets me, grinds my gears when, oh, this person bought me this Gucci, whatever, and all these labels, and don't get me wrong, I love nice things. Um, but
Yes, we do.
who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you as a person? Who are you outside of the
Who
pulpit?
are you
Who are
outside
you
of the pulpit?
who are you outside of preaching? What do
Yep.
you know outside of the Bible? Like, are you how connected to the community are you? How
Yeah.
connected to people are you? How connected to yourself? Do
How
you even know
connected to your home and your children are you?
your children?
Because
Your
that says a lot about the person that you are. You can't take care of me if your home ain't right. If you're not taking
Ooh,
care of your children, you don't have no real relationship with your children. How do I
wow.
expect you to have a relationship with me? And so I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I don't want them to miss what you're saying. Who are you outside of the
Who
pulpit, outside
who
of
are
your
you?
pre-? We could talk about the Bible all day long. Listen, you know me, sis. Let's run them
Yeah,
scriptures. Let's talk. I'm good with
yeah,
that. But outside of that and getting to know, I need to know who you are outside when you step
yeah,
outside of that pulpit. Do you
yeah.
know how to take care of home? How are you with your finances?
And
Do
can I
you know how to
respect you
take care?
outside of the pulpit?
Come on.
Because a lot of
Because
people
we're not
lead
having
a
these
life.
discussions, and that's the issue. This is
They,
this is real stuff we got,
yeah.
because we can talk about the pulpit all day long, but then when we get home and I figure out that you don't know how to manage a checkbook or your checking account, you don't know how to pay bills and things of that
Ooh,
nature, but you're so worried about, can I take care? You don't have a relationship with your mom or your dad.
mm,
This stuff matters, and we need to
it
have these
does.
real conversations, and then
It
maybe those
does.
issues will be a little bit more far and few and in between.
Right. But I think
But I didn't want
that's
them
the
to miss
part
what
that
you're
I
saying, because
struggle
that was
with
good and that
church
blessed me.
guys.
Yeah.
That's what I struggle with
Yep.
with church men in ministry, is most of them don't know who they are outside of the pulpit, outside of being a
Yes.
pastor, outside of that. And it's just, and it's a dichotomy, because the women do, or women like
Yep.
us do, because we're
We were
entrepreneurs.
trained.
We were trained. We that wasn't, ministry wasn't our most of us wasn't our first choice.
It wasn't
You know what I'm saying? It was something that
feeling,
we
but
really,
okay.
we literally God was like, you can't escape this. You
Yep.
got to do this. And I'm like, you sure? Because I could be,
Because, baby,
oh,
listen,
I could be doing something else.
I could cook, you know.
Listen, um, we, uh, we talk a lot about, and you shared a lot a couple of weeks ago, or it was like a week or two ago, about healing.
Mhm.
And I think healing is so important before you go into a relationship. You need to be
Can we
healed.
can we deal with this really quickly?
Yes.
Because um, this is another issue that we run into, men and women. A lot of us um, are jumping from one relationship to another one without properly getting to heal ourselves. And
Mm,
a lot of us, we're even and I won't even say jumping from relationship to relationship, but even just jumping into a relationship when we're
yeah.
not whole single. Being
Yeah.
in a relationship is not going to make you whole if you were broken while you were single.
Mm,
Can I say that again?
that's
Being in a
good. Say that again.
relationship, why trying to get whole is not going to make you whole when you were broken while you were single. It's imperative that while you're single, that you learn yourself, that you
Yes.
heal from whatever is. And I'm not even talking about healing from other relationships, but healing from heartache, healing from past traumas that you've dealt with. That stuff is imperative, because if you bring that stuff in your relationship, y'all are going to be two broken people. It's
Yes.
imperative. How can you get and expect someone to love you in a relationship when you don't know and love yourself while you're single? You
Yeah.
can't tell them how to love you because you don't even know how to love yourself. You
You
can't
don't.
tell them what you like, how to treat you, what makes you mad, what makes you happy, because you don't even know yourself. And
Yep.
so it is imperative. And see, we don't want to be single because, the world and the church has cursed this thing about us being, it's a bad thing when we're single. It's
Listen.
a bad thing when we're single. But baby, I'd rather be single and whole and working on myself than being in a relationship real broken, real unhappy, don't even like myself. So I probably don't even like the nigga I'm with. You know what I'm saying? And it's right. You know me, sis. I'm gonna keep it real and I'm gonna keep it
Right.
raw.
No, for real.
And that's just what it is. But I'll say it again. You cannot go into a relationship and expect to be whole when you were still broken while you were single. It is
Yep.
imperative that you get that healing. And again, I'm not talking about healing from messed up and broken relationships. I'm not just talking about that. But we need to deal with healing from generational curses that we ain't got free from yet. We need to
Come
get
on.
healing from, being abused by our parents, or from the neglect of our parents. This stuff isn't. And see, then when you heal and work on these things, then a relationship is a little bit easier to work with. Then you all,
Yes.
you know how to, you know what I'm saying? Healing is
Yeah.
so important. Knowing yourself is so important. And knowing who God said, because if you go in a relationship and you'll not know yourself, and that person will tell you who you are, and you'll start
Yep.
believing that stuff. And then
Yep.
that's when the control aspect comes in, because
Yep.
now you in a relationship, you don't know yourself, and now they telling you should be doing this, and maybe you should be wearing that. No, when I came into this relationship, this is how I
Mm-hmm.
am. This is what I like to wear. This is how I like to be treated. I like flowers. I like this kind of flower. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And we
Yeah.
think it's minor stuff, but it's not. It's so
Yeah.
imperative that you know who God says you are. Because listen, can't no
Mm-hmm.
nigga tell me nothing about me. Because I'm walking in already through the door. And I say that with confidence because a few years ago, that was not me.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of broken, abusive, physically and emotionally relationships because I didn't know who I was. I was still dealing with trauma. I was still dealing with family issues, generational issues, and trying to fill a void. We get in relationships, come on somebody and talk to me,
Yeah.
and try to fill voids that we were not healed from while we were single. It's about being honest at this point. It's about
Yes.
going in and looking in the mirror and being honest and true with yourself. Because again, you'll be miserable in this relationship when you ain't
Yep.
dealt with yourself. And I say that for men and women. Healing is
Mm-hmm.
so important. And
And
I
I
just,
think
go ahead.
that's the part that we skip over, is
Yep.
being okay to be alone.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes
okay to be
some
alone.
It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be by yourself.
Yes.
Learn who you are. Learn what you like. Learn what you don't like. There's a lot of people who can tell you what they don't like, but when you ask them what do you like, they can't
No,
tell you. They don't
they
know.
can't tell you.
Um, but I think that's it to me. That's a really telltale sign if you see somebody who jumps from relationship to relationship to relationship,
Yeah.
because if you don't know how to be by yourself, you'll always be looking for
You don't know how to be in a
validation
relationship.
through being with somebody else.
Whew.
Always, always.
Don't stir
And
me.
that that
That's a
requires some
trigger.
really, it requires you to confront who you are.
Yeah.
Who
And be
It
honest.
requires you to confront your dysfunction. Like,
Yep.
what is it?
Yep.
We don't take the time to think about, well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's
Listen,
me. Maybe I got
I
some work to do.
said this. I said we're very in my last, live talking about healing. I said this. We're very good at pointing the finger, pointing out everybody else dysfunction, pointing out, oh, it was him. He made me act like this, and our relationship didn't work because he did this, this, and this. But we never want to sit back and say some of this was me. I
Yep.
caused the breakup because I did this and I did
Yep.
this. But it takes a mature person to sit
Yep.
there and look at themselves in the mirror and confront you got to be mature to do that thing.
Listen.
You can't. And see, this is why
Listen. But
you
you got a lot of people who aren't
this
mature.
exact, and this is why they're steady going from relationship to friendship to friendship. Listen, it goes all in every
Yeah.
aspect. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I know we
Absolutely.
talking about relationships, but even in
But it's in
friendships
all
to friendship,
relationships.
it's
Yeah.
in
Friendships.
all the ships. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? If you don't know how to be alone, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being alone. Now I understand the Bible says that men should not be alone. We know what the
Yeah.
scripture says, but God also said, then don't be no fool. Learn yourself while you alone, okay?
There's nothing worse than a needy person
Nothing. Would you talk
that
about it?
requires
Would you
24-hour attention 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
listen? Because I
There's
don't want you
nothing
to talk to me
worse.
that much.
There's nothing worse than a needy person
Yeah,
who needs to hang on to you. Like that,
yeah,
there's nothing worse than that.
yeah.
And I just one one of the issues I have, a lot of folks will go from they leave one relationship to be with someone else in another. They won't leave, or excuse me, they won't leave that a relationship because the person, hold on, let me get this right. They'll stay in a relationship until the person who they want to be in a relationship becomes available. And so they're always moving to the next best thing, or what they think is the next best
Logan
thing.
Paul.
And yeah, it amazes me how even in church culture, we
Mhm.
have so many dysfunctions when
Yeah.
we should be promoting environments for healing.
Yep.
But instead, we enable folks through relationships by advising them to get married, by hooking them up with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, your friend is
So
dysfunctional.
let's deal with it, because even in church, and that's the issue, because it's okay. For instance, if somebody has a baby out of wedlock, the first thing that they encourage is for y'all to get to the altar and marry each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is why we have so many dysfunctional marriages in church, because y'all were never supposed to be together in the first place. But
Right.
because you allow for the church to tell you, oh, now y'all having a baby, so y'all need to be married. Now y'all feel obligated to, be in this relationship, don't even like each other, and it's probably toxic for your child. And
Right.
and again, but they push that because it's better to marry than to burn. You know what I'm saying? So But ain't nobody talking about focusing on healing. Ain't nobody talking about, okay, now y'all have had sex, y'all done had this baby out of wedlock. How are you going to be better parents to this child? But they want to push marriage on you. And this is
Yeah.
why there's so many dysfunctional marriages in church, because
Yep.
ain't nobody dealing with the real. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I've seen it with my own eyes. We've seen it.
Yeah.
People have
Yeah.
been married 20 and 30 years, still married, don't even like each other.
Don't
Because the
like each other.
church forced them.
Right.
The church forced them to get married.
Yep.
But where's the focus on getting that healing? Where's the focus on, okay, now y'all messed up. Let us love you and let us get you through deliverance instead of trying to force something when y'all wasn't supposed to be together in the first
In the
place.
first
Ain't nobody
place.
dealing with the real. And this is the
Mm.
issue. This is why we have relationship issues. Because
Yeah.
ain't nobody, listen, I've had 2 kids out of wedlock, baby,
Hmm.
and you couldn't get me to marry, and I'm not talking, down, but this is the you couldn't get me to marry neither one of them niggas. Okay. But we're parents, and I'm okay with that, and I've got my
Hmm.
healing from that. I had
Yeah.
my babies out of wedlock. I done went through my stages. I done got my healing from that, and now now I'm ready to be in it. But what would have happened if I had stayed simply
Right.
because of a baby?
Right. Oh, honey, you would have aborted destiny.
I, Don't make me run, because it ain't too late. Okay? And it don't take much from me.
No,
And see,
seriously.
this is
That
the
that's
issue, because people are forcing in church, because the church is forcing these things upon us. Now we're aborting our purpose and our destiny because we're listening to the church and not God. Y'all not
yeah.
talking to me. This is the
Yeah.
issue. This is
Yeah.
the Listen, don't
Yeah.
stir me tonight, sis, because
Listen, I'm this is good. This is really good. Um I wanted to deal with not only how one
sit
of
down.
one of my biggest issues. It's not something that I need to be healed from. I'm healed from it. But when you've been in a relationship where that has been abusive, there are certain things that are just red
Oh,
flags,
yeah.
and you can't, you can't deny them. You can't,
Mhm.
gloss over them. But that's one of my biggest struggles in being with someone, is because I know that in the beginning they can give you a good representative.
Absolutely.
They can give you a good first impression. You can, dates and all of that stuff. But the how do you get over the thoughts, or the concern about abuse in the future? And I know this requires you to be very vulnerable.
It does. It's
Sorry,
ooh. Um, it's
my
gonna take a
my
lot of
phone just get charged.
God. It's gonna take a
Mm-hmm.
lot of God. It's gonna take a lot of you kind of getting really. Now that's one thing that you really need to. And I'm not saying you, but I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
just anybody really needing to get healed from that, because if you don't really deal with that thing, you'll those triggers will set you off immediately.
Yeah.
Like, it'll, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And we've
absolutely.
both been in those relationships,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and physically. Now, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I'm healed now, so if I see that, and a nigga try to pull it
It,
with me, we boxing. You feel what I'm saying? Um,
right. Right.
I'm not with it, but, you know, I'll be transparent. Back then, um, because I hadn't dealt with those issues, it was okay for a man. Because, listen, I had my definition of love was, well, he hit me, then he said he's sorry, and then, I love you. And so
Mm-hmm.
he loved me. And so that's what I knew as a 22-year-old in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with these men. And because, I didn't know and understand what real love was, I
Right.
had the perception of what it was. And so I
Mm-hmm.
accepted what I saw. That's an
Mm-hmm.
issue. When you don't know what it is, when you don't know what a real healthy relationship is, when you don't know what true love is, you know, hitting to us is love.
Right. Well, that's
You
what we're
know,
taught as little girls. Like, if he hits
yeah.
you, that means he likes you.
That means he loved. Listen, this is generate because I've seen it within my own family. You know what I'm saying? And so it's normal to not again not now because I'm grown, I'm healed now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
nigga, know not to pull it with me now, but
Right.
back then, that's what we knew, and so that's what we accepted. And we didn't, until you get healed from that thing, until you have
Mm-hmm.
God, and I'm talking about and see again, nobody wants to deal with the real. We don't even, because back in the generations, because this is what we saw. It's okay, baby, he love you, just
Right. Just
pray
stick it
about it,
out.
he'll be okay, and ain't nobody dealt with it. And so now, we're working through this thing through generations, and so now it's accepted. We don't know no better. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We don't know what the Bible says, how God's true love is the real love. We don't know, you know what I'm saying, what that is. And so
Right.
again, we're carrying that in relationships. We're accepting for
Mm-hmm.
them to talk down on us. We're accepting for them to treat us any kind of way. We're accepting for them to put out, because this is what we was taught. This is what we saw. You know what I'm saying? And so it takes a lot of healing. And
Yeah.
I'm just now getting there at
Yeah.
almost 33 next month. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This ain't no overnight, God, please heal me
Right.
from this thing and, bring me out of this abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
No, this ain't that. This took a lot of, prayer, a lot of seeking God, a lot of laying my head in that Bible and
Mm-hmm.
seeing what he says, a lot of sitting on the couch, because we don't want to do that.
Right.
In our community, you got to sit on
Right.
somebody's couch. That means you crazy. That means,
Mm.
girl, what you just pray to God. We want to over spiritualize things and don't want to deal with the natural. Y'all not
Well.
talking to me. We want to overspeak. Oh, just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Oh, baby, just pray about it and it'll be okay. And God, listen, I'm an advocate for God. I'm an advocate for
Mm-hmm.
prayer. But baby, if you need to go sit on somebody's couch and deal with
You
your
can do
issues,
both.
deal with your traumas, then you need to go deal with that. We want to over spiritualize. How can you take away the natural aspect? If he didn't want for you to have one, there would be no, he wouldn't have made no need for the therapist. If
Right.
there was no need for a doctor, if you can get healed on your own, we wouldn't have doctors. Come on, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me. Like,
Yeah.
we can't, and this is again an issue. We want to over
Yeah.
spiritualize in the church. We want to church everything. No, some
Mm-hmm.
things we got to deal with in the natural.
Yeah.
And that's how you get your healing. No, I'm not okay. This man abused me. I done prayed. I done tried to see God. It's not helping me. Let me go get a therapist.
Right. Well, I want to let's. I want to kind of differentiate um the need for healing and just being observant of red
Mm-hmm.
flags and dealing with them in the
I don't
beginning.
think it's anything
Yeah.
wrong with that. I think you're
No.
always
Right.
going to be, because especially depending on we all got different stories. So, them red flags are going to kick in anyway.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because, we're into a protective mode of ourselves and our
Mm-hmm.
spaces and, our hearts. And so the minute something looks, a little off to us, then we like, hold on, wait. And it's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's nothing wrong with protecting your space and protecting your heart and making sure you're not jumping into something, simply because, oh, he looked good, or he talking good, and
Right.
so he
Or
done
I'm
stroked
lonely.
my, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, we don't
Right.
want to deal with that. I'm lonely,
We
so
don't want
let
to
me
talk about
entertain
that
his conversation. We don't want
because
to
I don't
deal
got
with.
nobody else.
I don't got
Yeah.
nobody to talk to, baby.
Right.
No, can we deal with it? We can't.
Right.
No, I mean, it's the truth. Listen. He talking good, baby. It's
Let's.
11 o'clock at night. You still up, baby? Slid in your inbox.
Right.
It, but when you're content with being alone, and you're content
Mhm.
with being and learning yourself and learning your spiritual your single journey, when
Yeah.
they slide in your inbox, that don't phase you. When they come
Right.
trying to talk to you, that stuff don't phase you. And so it's,
Right.
again, like, it's layers to this thing. Like, we
Yeah.
can't make it so surface level. You know what I'm saying? It's layers. And again, let me clarify, you all, men and women, it's nothing wrong with having red, keeping your guard up. It's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with, um, the issue is when you keep it up, but you don't allow anybody to break it down. But it's nothing
Mhm.
wrong for you having it up and protecting your space. But
Mhm.
see, when this is why your relationship with God is imperative, because when He sends the right woman or the right man, you'll know, okay, now I can carefully remove some of these bricks off of this wall. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Mhm.
have to be so defensive, and I don't have to be so, he gonna abuse me, or, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Right.
But it ain't
Right.
nothing wrong with it, sis. It's nothing wrong
I
with
have
it.
a saying is don't build walls, build fences.
Yes,
So instead of,
that's
we
good.
talk about the walls that we put up, to keep people out and all of
Hmm.
that. But with a fence, you can see over it. It's still there for
Yeah,
protection. It's still there as a barrier, but you can let
that's
people in and
good.
out of a fence. So that's my philosophy is if you don't build walls, build fences. Not and yeah. So we'll talk about that on another. I don't want to get too much on that one. Because I
Ooh,
got a little
I
writing
might
for that.
listen. I might preach that. That was good. You have
I
blessed
got a
me.
little. I got a little writing. I got a little. That's a chapter on one of my books. Don't build walls, build
Yes,
fences.
yes, that
But
is so
yeah,
good.
I am, just there's that there's always these assumptions that go on or around folks who are um single in ministry.
Hmm.
If you're a man and you're single and you're not known to be a whore, then you got to be gay. If you're a woman,
Hmm.
then if you're not dating anybody for a long time, then you must be lesbian. I mean,
Or
it's
you
just the
must be a
reality.
hoe. Because if you ain't in no relationship, I mean, if we gonna deal with it, let's deal with it.
Right,
Because
right,
that's what some of the stigma is too.
yeah,
Or was she single or he single? They not in no relationship, so they must be hoeing around.
hmm, right.
Let's deal with the real.
Oh,
That's what it is.
that's what they
I
say.
know. Listen, sis, I done heard some things about myself that I didn't even know I did. I just be, well, good God, good grief. I just, but that's the reality of it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And
yeah.
now it don't phase me because I know, listen, can't nobody tell my story. I could tell you what I did and what I didn't do. That's why I wrote the book.
Mm,
Amen.
amen.
But it's that's one of the things that, especially for women. And see, when you're pretty, because let's deal with it. When you're pretty, you got a nice shape. You know what I'm saying? Automatically, they think you sleeping around, or you easy, or you just going. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Or she a hoe. I've
yeah,
seen it and I've heard it, and it's. I don't know
yeah,
why. I don't know.
yeah,
Now I done did some things, but you know what I'm saying. I can tell
yeah.
you what I did. Come on,
Right,
somebody.
right.
But that's just one of the, and I hate it. I hate it, and it's not just the women; it's the men too. Sometimes we be like, "Oh, baby,
Right,
yo,
right. That's what they do, and that's what I guess that's what bothers me. One of the things that bothers me the most, especially being a woman in ministry, because we try so hard to protect our name.
yeah,
You and I have talked about this before. When I travel, I'm usually traveling by myself
yep,
because I know, who I am. I know I
mm-hmm.
don't play. I don't want anybody around me who has a reputation or who
Yep,
don't know how to stay on assignment.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? I'm very protective of my space. One of my pastor friends, and she's on here, she'll tell you, I'll Uber to a service in a heartbeat. I don't need nobody picking me up. Y'all, I'll Uber to the hotel. Y'all can Uber me back to the hotel, whatever the case may be.
you
I
go.
I like to be by myself.
Yes,
I can protect my reputation when I'm
Yeah.
by
And
myself.
see, sis, I didn't, with me, because you've been in ministry a little bit longer than, I have. So I
Hmm.
had to learn that it was okay to, I would rather be by myself because I can control what is happening. I can control what's being
Right.
said about me. Because listen, if you can't put me with nobody that wasn't with me. Come on,
Right.
somebody. And so, and so, I didn't know that at first. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, I thought, I had to, when I go somewhere to preach, I had to have me somebody. No, I could carry my own Bible. I could wipe
Right.
my own face.
Hmm.
I don't need that. It's not a necessity for me because what people will do is they will associate just because that person was there,
With you.
and now you
Yep.
got to fight for your name. Listen, I've worked too hard to build up and not even
Right.
take get because some of the stuff I did do. Come
Right.
on, some I did do it, but I've worked very hard to clean and protect my name, and so now I don't know. I go by
Hmm.
myself.
Right.
I don't need you to take no
Right.
thank
Right. And
because
that's
the first thing people do, they will do. Listen, especially with us women, I don't know why they just want to tear us down and just they want to tear the women preacher down and they just want to make us this. And I don't know why,
hmm
but it's reality. And so, listen again, like I said earlier, I can damage my own relationship. I don't need
right.
nobody help to do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I can damage my own name. I don't need nobody else to do that. And so
Right.
women preachers on here, it's all right to go by yourself, amen.
It's all right to go
Um,
by yourself. It's all right to
it's all
carry your
right
own
to go.
Bible.
Yes, carry your
If
own
you,
Bible. Listen,
it's all
because
right.
listen, if what I'm realizing is, and I know it's kind of off topic, but a lot of people just want to be seen. A lot of people
Mm,
they want to be connected to your name, and so and
mm,
I found that with my own. They just want to be there, just to be, but you're not really covering me. You're not really. If I only hear from you when I'm getting ready to have an engagement, no,
right.
no. And so
Right.
again, but this, mm, see now
Girl.
we don't got time.
No,
That's why we
seriously,
on here all
I'm
night.
just I don't have time. What is the one thing that you have to have in a relationship? Like, okay, one natural thing, one spiritual, and we'll go from there.
Um, spiritually, a must is um. Ooh, that's a good question. Uh, it's a must that he be able to cover me
Yeah.
spiritually and naturally. It's
Mhm.
just a must. Um, because everything I do is not spiritual.
Mhm.
I'm a wardrobe stylist and a makeup artist. I need him to be able to see God for me when I can't see him for myself. You know,
Mhm.
I need for him to see, for, just in case I miss God telling me to get on this business opportunity. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's imperative that he be able to cover me. And so that's
Mm.
the spiritual aspect of it. And naturally, a must have for me um, is honesty,
Yeah.
communication.
Mhm.
Listen, a lot of stuff could be avoided if y'all talk about it and be
Mhm.
honest about it.
Right.
We grown. I don't need you to baby me. If there's
Yeah.
something that I did that you didn't like, tell me. Because I'm going to tell you when you piss me off. Amen. Uh,
Amen.
communication and honesty. We want to get in these relationships and just, baby, I love you. And we want to stroke each other's, whatever.
Mhm.
Go sit down. This is my water. No. And so, sorry, my son. And so it's imperative that, we be honest and communicate. How y'all gonna have a relationship and y'all don't talk to each other?
Mm. Right. Oh, that's good. Oh, that
Y'all
just
not
made me
talking
think
to
about
each
something
other.
else. That just
I
made me think
mean,
about something. Yeah.
it may seem minor, but communication is what I found out. And we always say communication is everything, but what I found out is communication and comprehension is everything. Because you could talk to me all day long, you can tell me all day long, but if I'm not comprehending what you're saying, the conversation
Mhm.
don't mean a thing. If I'm talking to you and you're not comprehending how I'm feeling, if I'm expressing my feelings to you and you're not comprehending that thing, it don't my conversation don't mean a thing. So
Right.
conversation and comprehension.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
That's for me. As for
Absolutely.
me in my house.
Um. So yeah, for
So what?
me,
How do you
well,
feel?
prayer is like number one.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one for me.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't pray together, if you don't have a prayer life, we can't. It's just not gonna work.
It's not gonna
Um,
work.
and I know that's a turn off to some men. I've seen posts,
But then
I've
that's how
seen
you
posts
know he
about
not for you though. If you
exactly.
have an issue with me saying I need you to be able to pray for me and we can pray for each other, and if you don't know how to cover and pray for me, you're not the man for me. It's real
You're not
simple.
the man for me.
It's really not
Absolutely.
and you cannot like that, and that's okay. Then I know that's you not for me.
Absolutely. And someone naturally would probably be um just a gentleman. You
Yeah.
know, I you don't have to lead with money or things like
Hmm.
that with me. But I you have to be considerate,
Yeah.
thoughtful.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
So let
and
me ask you this,
gentle.
because this has been a conversation. Do looks matter? Do look, because listen, let me
Oh,
because
get in trouble.
let me because this has been a conversation. With some will say oh, as long as his personality is good and he
Mm-mm,
treats me
no,
good, then I'm okay. That's what they be saying. But as for me in my house, looks matter.
looks matter.
Looks, I got to be able to look. Now you ain't got to be fine, because you could be fine and treat me all the way wrong. But we have to be physically. I don't think nobody want to be in a relationship and they're not
That they're
physically
not physically
attracted to each
attracted.
other.
Hmm.
Now that
Absolutely.
ain't number one, but it's high on the list. Amen. It's up there. It's up there. I mean, if
It's
we gonna
up
be,
there.
it's up there. If
We
we
we're
gonna
gonna
be
say
honest,
prayers number one for me. Looks is number two.
I'm talking about it's right up under there. It's here.
And it's right up under there.
Yeah.
Um, I I think that confidence can be attractive.
Yeah.
There are some other things that are attractive, and not just looks. I've probably dated a guy who wasn't very attractive,
Yeah.
um, but he was very confident and he was a
Mhm.
nice guy. So I can get over the looks part somewhat,
But now
but
you
I
don't
don't
want
want
to.
to. At this point in my life, I don't want to. I don't want to settle for what I don't want. I mean, you
But
know what I'm
see,
saying? I just
and I don't think that you have to, or we
right.
have to, because God, He knows His children, and He knows
Mm-hmm.
the desires of their hearts. And so, if it be His will, He's gonna
Right.
give you. Well, I don't really think that God is gonna set you with two people who are not attracted to each other. I don't think He operates that way. You know what I'm
I
saying? And,
I agree.
and not to say again, we're not putting the main focus on that, because there are more important things than looks. But again,
Hmm.
if it be His will, He knows His children. He know
Right.
what you like to look at, and what don't really fancy
Hmm.
and so I think
Right.
that He'll give you that. But I want to ask you this: is it, because now we talking about in ministry, is the anointing attractive? Can he be
It
ugly,
is.
but can he preach? And then
Yeah, but that don't like if you can preach and you still ugly, you still ugly to me. Like,
to us,
to me.
because we preachers, so
So
that
I'm
don't
not.
phase me. It
Yeah.
don't.
It's yeah. I think you
It don't.
can. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's something that a woman who may necessarily not be in ministry looks for. Is,
Mm-hmm.
that may be attractive to her. Um, but I think looks are just important. Yeah, looks are
Looks
important,
and
and
hygiene and how you
like
carry and
hygiene,
dress yourself. Yeah.
hygiene, hygiene
Come on.
is very
Because
important.
we got to deal with all of it.
You got to deal with
This
the
is
whole man.
the whole man, and the whole man and the whole woman, because
Yeah,
he don't want
the whole
no
woman.
woman who
Absolutely.
doesn't take care of her body, who doesn't
Take care of a
comb her
home.
hair and
Yeah,
stuff like that. It goes both ways. Go
yeah,
back over there.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah. So this is interesting. I'll probably this is interesting. This conversation.
We got to do that
Um,
part too.
um, but Bishop Greg Davis, he said something. He's like, if you're gonna wait, you might as well wait and get what you want. Like,
Period.
if you go, period. So
I
I'm
mean,
just
and
gonna
that's
wait. I'm gonna wait
but
until I
we
get what
don't
I want.
want to wait. That's our
I'm
issue.
waiting.
We're very impatient. We want
I'm
to, because
good.
we
Like,
see everybody getting married and engaged
yeah,
and in
it's
these
nice,
relationships, and this
and that
looks
is beautiful.
nice. It's
It's beautiful for
appeasing.
them. I
Love is
really
a
want to
beautiful
get.
thing, but and it's beautiful for them. But
It's
I want
beautiful for
my
them.
story to
I'll.
be beautiful for me,
As
and so
there you
I'll
go.
wait on that.
There you go.
Because what
I'll
I'm
wait
looking
for it.
at may not be what works for me. Come on,
Yes.
somebody. It may look
Yes.
good to you, and it may
Yes.
work for them, but it may
Yes.
not work for you. And that's why you gotta
Absolutely.
wait on God.
Listen.
We gotta stop being so impatient. This is why we get in these relationships and then get married and then be divorced the
Yep.
next, month or so. Because we're not patient and not waiting on. Listen, come on.
Listen, I think people are getting married and not even going and getting the paperwork. They just doing it so they won't have to get divorced. They can just break up. They just having a church wedding, and we think they married. And honey, by the eyes of the law, they not
But see,
even married.
this is my point. We looking in thinking it's one thing and it's a totally different thing. And
Yes.
now we're trying to base our relationship and trying to go after something that ain't even meant for us. And it don't even
Yes.
work for us. And so that's why we gotta wait. Listen, I don't have no
Wait on God.
relationship goals. Okay, my own relationship goals are gonna be my relationship, because you looking in and think they loving each other, and he probably beating her behind closed doors. We don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's not for us to know.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely.
What's for me and my relationship will be for me and my relationship. And so
Yes.
I'll wait on God. And I
Uh,
had to tell myself, and even now, I have to tell you got to be patient. You got to
mm,
slow your roll and wait on God. Because just because you want this to
oh
happen,
boy.
this, and this,
Yeah.
no. God, we listen, let God do his job.
Amen.
Let God, he know what he doing, even in this relationship thing. He know what he doing.
Absolutely. He knows
And
what
see,
he's doing.
when we mess up because we try to do his job, we try to interfere, we try to rush things, we try to, and then if God, I feel the need to say this because I feel it in my spirit for somebody on here. If God is telling you to let that person go, let that person go. You wonder why you're not happy. You wonder why you're not married. You wonder why you're not getting what you need in a
Mm,
relationship. It's because you've not let that person go, and he done told you that that's not the one for you. But you're so busy trying to make a person be what he was
woo.
never or she was never intended to be for you. Let him go.
Let
I
him
don't know
go.
who that's for, but I'm going to obey the Holy Spirit. Let them go.
Let it
You will
go.
never get the woman and the man that God has for you until you let go of that time. You can't make nobody love you. You can't make nobody be who you want
You
them
heard?
to be. They're going to be who they're going to be. Whether you try to, no.
Yeah. You can't manipulate it.
You can't manipulate it.
You
You
can't
can't work
manipulate
that
the
thing.
will of
It's a lot
God.
of things we can do as women. It's a lot.
Hmm.
Listen, we know how to twist and turn some things, but when it comes to a man or when it comes to a relationship, you can't make them love you. You
Right.
can't make them be who you need them to be in a relationship. So if God has shown you that she or he is not for you, let him go, or you'll
Let him go.
forever be miserable, and you'll never get who he has for you.
Yes,
And
let him
see,
go.
you be alone, be okay with being alone.
See, that's
Why
where I
y'all don't
am.
want to be
I'm
alone?
okay.
Like it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay
It's really
because
fun.
when God blesses you with that man and he's coming, sis, he's
He's
coming.
coming.
He's definitely coming. He's definitely
He's
coming.
coming.
Um, you'll
No,
be
see, I
ready, and
enjoy
he'll
being alone. That's
listen.
the thing.
I'll go
I
on a
enjoy
date by
it.
myself in a minute. I'll
Listen,
take myself on a date in a minute and enjoy
go
and
on a
be
date.
cute, girl, for myself, honey.
Go
It's
on a.
okay.
I date myself. Take myself to dinner.
And
Take
see,
myself to
dating
the movies.
yourself,
Buy
taking
what I want to
yourself out.
buy. Do what I want to do.
It's
Build what I want to build. But
go,
they say
get
that
on the
women like that
plane.
can't be submissive. So let's talk. Let's. This gonna be our last little one. Submission.
Oh, bye bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Submission. 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 They say,
I'll let you
they say
start.
women. They say women, independent women, women, single women in ministry because they have their own platform or whatever. That we can't be submissive, and I believe that the devil is a liar. I believe that we just are not going to submit to anything or anyone who is not submitted themselves to God. So,
Stop right there.
yeah.
I need them to catch what you just said. Stop right there. Don't talk no more. How do you expect me to submit to you and you're not submitted to the one who's the head of our entire relationship?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say it again for the ones who came in late to virtual church. How do you expect me or a woman to submit to you and a relationship when you're not submitted to the one who is carrying the entire relationship?
Yeah.
What are we submitting to? Y'all,
What
it
am I submitting
overcooks
to?
my grits when they say, oh, well, she don't want to be submitted and she don't know how to be submitted. You don't even know how to be submitted. You're not submitted to God. You don't have no relationship with him. Therefore, I
Yes.
know because you're not submitted to God, then you don't know how to love me. You don't know how to carry me in this relationship. You don't know how
Yeah.
to cover me. You don't know what God says for you to do for me in this
Yeah.
relationship because you don't have no relationship with him. You're not submitted to him.
Whew.
How
Yep.
and see, again, like we said in the beginning of this, the issue is it's always how do we mold the woman to be the wife? Then
Right.
let's have a class and let's have a
Women's
conversation
conference
on
and
how for a woman to prepare her for marriage
yeah.
and wifely duties and all of this. But ain't nobody telling you how to be no leader in the home, how to be submitted to God first. You so worried about my submission and you ain't even got yours in order. No, sir.
That's good. I am tickled.
I mean, let's
Yes.
deal with the real.
Let's
Because
deal
it's
with it.
always, and it's not just the church, it's the world too. Woman got to be this way. This is how she's supposed to cook. This is how she's supposed to take care of home. This is how she should raise her kids. But the focus, the conversation is very rarely on how a man should take care of home. He's the
Yeah.
head of the household. It's always he the head of the household, and that's the end of
Mhm.
the conversation. How is he the head of the household? What does head of the household mean?
Mhm. Right.
We're not
I
dealing
want
with
I want
this.
to deal with what Mr. Robertson says, or is it Robertson? One of the two. He says so. Some I'm assuming he's saying okay. So women say this, but when they get a man who is submitted to God, she still don't know. No, she still don't know. All y'all not built for submission, and I want to respond to this. If
Go
she
ahead.
won't submit to you, she's not your wife.
Took the words out of my mouth.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, it's
If
real
she won't
simple.
submit to you,
That
she's
ain't your
still
wife.
not your wife. I mean,
And
she's
that's
not
the
your wife.
problem. That's the issue here because, they have that mentality. Well, some of y'all still ain't, y'all. he's submitted to God, but y'all still not submitting to him, that ain't your wife. It's real
It's not
simple.
your wife.
A woman
Because
will,
any woman who will, who
we want to be
we
submitted.
want
We
to,
want
to submit.
somebody to lead us. I don't care how alpha female we are. I don't care how we can do it ourselves and all that.
Yeah.
When a woman sees a man who is doing and submitted and all of it, and he got everything,
She'll willingly submit.
willingly submit.
But
Now,
that's
see,
a
if she
woman
not submitting,
who, yeah. So Eve was taken out of Adam's side to be a help to him.
mm-hmm,
Which would be submitting to him because she
mm-hmm,
is along his side. She's partnering with him. She's partnering with his vision.
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to just partner with everybody. I'm only supposed to partner with my husband. I'm only supposed to help my husband. I'm only supposed to submit to my own husband, not to everybody. So that's why I said if she's
But
not
that's the
submitted to
issue.
you, she
That
is
ain't your
not your
wife.
help. She's not your wife.
And the issue comes in because now she's not submitting or he's not leading. And so, but I'm going to still try to make him lead. I'm going to still try to make her
No.
submit. And this is why we're missing our husbands and our wives. When God
Yep.
is plainly telling you that ain't it, she not it, he not it. Because see, when God is very strategic in what he does.
Yeah.
And when he sets it up, it's all in alignment. If it ain't
Yeah.
falling in line, it's not his will. That ain't
It's
your
not.
wife, and that ain't. We want to overcomplicate
Yeah.
stuff, and it really just not. This is not that
Or no,
complicated.
we want to force a fit.
Yeah.
We want to force something to
I
fit
will
that's
be.
not
I'm just
supposed to
praying that
fit.
for
So he replies, so it's not possible that she's just not good at submission and needs to grow at it. It's an automatic. For me, it's an automatic. She's not your wife, and that's speaking
it's
from a woman's
and
perspective.
she'll grow,
She
but she
can
still ain't
grow
for you.
into it, but she has to submit to that process.
Yeah,
If
she
she's
got to
not
submit to
willing,
that process, but she
if she's
still ain't
not
for you
willing to
though.
be a part of that process, submission is submission comes easy. It really does. I don't know any woman in her right frame of mind who wants to be the head.
Can I
We're
interject?
not built that way.
Can
Yeah.
I? Can I? I agree to a certain extent. I think that we're not being properly taught what submission really is. And that's
Okay.
issue number one.
There you
I
go.
think, yes, it is. If it ain't that, if she's not submitting or he's not leading, then they ain't for you. But I think the issue is, again, let's start from here. Some of us don't know what submission really is. We've been
Mhm.
taught one thing. This is in church and in the world.
Mhm.
And so, because we don't know what submission is, we don't know how to submit. We don't know what it means to submit. So, I think that,
Webster says it's the act or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will of an authority or another person.
but let me hold on.
It
Let me
does
stop.
not mean you tell me what to do.
I was just going to say, hold on. Let me interject. Submission does not mean control. Let me come on,
Exactly.
because I feel that in my spirit. I feel like
Yeah.
somebody is thinking one thing. Submission, come on, say it with me, church.
Submission does
Submission
not mean
is not
control.
control. Because
Yes.
some of you men think submission means I get to tell you what to do, what to wear, where to go, how to pray, what to say, and all that. And that's not what the Bible defines submission is.
Right.
That's not what God
Right.
says. So I'm gonna need you to come up out of that. That ain't that.
Yeah.
That's not what that is. Okay, let's get that
Humility or
understood.
meekness is also a definition of submission.
And females, because I got to talk to my ladies too. It's okay it's okay to submit. You don't got to be in control of everything.
Hmm.
It's
You can yield.
because some of us miss our men. They really are good men. They really, but we're so busy trying to steer and control the wheel. It's
Right.
okay to back from that thing. But see,
Right.
you'll know. Get your. Sorry, my son. You'll know when to back up off that. When to back up off that, because
Yeah.
you'll have God will tell you. But
Yep.
women, let me say, it's okay to, kind of ease off because some of us, but we don't know how to because we don't know what submission is. We don't know how
Right.
to ease that. So, yeah.
So I hope y'all enjoyed tonight. We are, because I still have to finish up some homework. So I gotta get on.
I
Uh,
still got work to do too. Amen.
Girl,
We gonna do it.
I don't know what is going on with my life. I feel like I'm just going and
I'm praying
coming,
for
and
you because
whatever
I
the case may
understand.
be. I'm building a business, and at the same time, I got, okay, hold on. Mr. Robertson has one more question, so we're gonna oblige his question. We're gonna submit. We're gonna yield.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Submission is a process. What does submission as a process look like for women? It is, for me, it is trusting that you're submitted to God, trusting that you can make sound judgment, sound decisions. It really is about being secure in the relationship, being secure in in who you are as a man, as a decision maker, as a leader, visionary, whatever the case may, whatever it is that you're doing, it is being feeling secure in that. Sometimes that requires time because we don't know you. You know what I'm saying? We're not automatically gonna submit to you.
We're not.
Um, but it takes consistency on your part, which develops the trust and security. Um, so it's not hard to submit to a man that you trust. It's not hard to submit to a man that makes you feel secure. Not hard to submit to a man who loves you wholly, completely, deeply. What say you, Bree?
Um, I agree. I think that like you said, it's work. It's not a we get into a relationship and then now I'm just gonna submit to you. It don't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way for the men. It's not we get into the relationship and now I'm just automatically the head of the household. I'm leading no. I think our issue again is when we try to rush these processes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a process. Everything is a process, and in your process, and when you rush a process, you miss out on the lessons that you're supposed to learn
Yes.
throughout the process. And so it's
Yes.
imperative that you let that thing process. You got to
Mm-hmm.
learn him. He got to learn you. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to work with each other in a relationship. He has to learn how to, to be a good leader. And you have to learn how to submit. It's all a process. And so, again,
Yes.
it's not an overnight thing. It ain't, okay, we decided to be together, so I'm submitted to you and I'm leading you. No, it's a
Yeah.
process. You gotta work that thing. And again, like you said, him showing that I can lead you, I can cover you. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I love my love is genuine. With his actions, because you can say you love me all day long.
Right.
You can say that I care for you all day long, but if them actions are not lining up with them words,
Yep.
no. And it's the same way for the women. Again, because I don't want it to be he not. Sometimes it be us. You
Yeah.
have to when you're an alpha female, sometimes it's hard for you to submit. Sometimes it's hard for you to take a step back, you know what I'm saying, and not
And
be in
not be,
control of
and just
everything and
and yield
it,
your
and
what,
yield. It's
just
hard for
yield.
us. It is. I'm still learning because I don't like to ask nobody to help me to do nothing. I like to
Yeah.
be in control of everything. I like to figure out stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning
Mhm.
how to yield and
Yeah.
take a step back and not have to be in control in everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process for each side. I agree with you completely.
Mm. Mel says, let's talk about the process of leading for us men. Many of us were never taught how to lead. We,
I
we talked
said
about that
this.
earlier.
We
This
talked
is the
about
reason
this
why
earlier.
most need a woman to submit just to feel like a man. So, but what it sounds like you're saying, not need a woman to submit. You need a woman to control, to feel like a man. not you personally,
Not
but
you, but yeah.
not you.
But
But that's
Pastor
what it
Mel, we
sounds.
talked.
Women don't know how to submit.
Yeah,
Like,
we talked about this earlier though. Like again, the focus is always on how to train a woman to get prepare her for marriage and
yep.
to be a wife
And
and
we,
all of that. But men were not. The conversation is rarely men. How do you lead?
yep,
How do you take care of the household? We talked about this earlier. So what you're
yep,
saying, yeah,
yep.
we,
This is a good conversation.
yeah,
This was a really good conversation. So we're gonna wrap up.
we gotta do a part two
Oh,
because
yeah, we gotta do a part two. I want to get some other women in ministry, single women in
yes,
ministry on and kind of let's just have this big conversation
yes.
um and kind of hash this stuff out because I don't want there to be this perspective that women are just we want you for your money.
Yeah.
We trying to be with you for your money. You want a boss, but you want somebody to control. uh yeah, we got a lot of stuff to work
Or we want
through.
to be
Thank
with you for
you.
your name,
We want to be
cause
with you for your name. No,
I got my
sweetheart,
own
like
name.
you don't even oh, do you even know who you are? Like, be with you for your name. Like, who are you? But who are
Like
you
who are
really?
you,
Who are you really? Yeah.
child? We gotta go.
All right. Y'all have a good night. More grace to you. See you on
Well,
next Thursday. We will be having prayer next Thursday, September 1st through the 30th. We are having a 30-day push, 30 days of prayer. Every evening at 9 p.m. We will come on this on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and there's also the call-in number that you can call in for those of you who are not on social media. So, well, I'm saying this is social media, but you know what I'm saying. If you can't get on social media, but you can get on your phone at work or whatever the case may be, listen in however you can.
yes, I'm
Until
excited.
next time, thank you for tuning in. You all have a good night and more grace to you. Bye.